first couple of minutes, just a background on the health check. So, and just remind ourselves. So we're going to be probably around 70 minutes maximum in the whole thing.
Sorry, can I interrupt you, Ken? I need Max's email. It's not picking it up on my phone.
Oh, it's all lowercase. Max Hamps, Hamps.
Yeah.
At ymail.com.
It's
on the
just
screen.
letter Y.
It's on the screen, Leslie.
Yeah.
Oh, there you are.
I wasn't going to say
yes,
that.
sorry. All right, Noel.
Well, at least I got it right.
I've sent it to you, Max.
Thank you.
Yeah, we
Thank
smarty
you.
plants.
Okay, so a bit of background as to why we did this. I think it was during lockdown, and Leslie's predecessor, Roddy Duncan, had asked me to do a health check on his own club. And then COVID happened. And he came and gave me the challenge, said, Ken, can we do this anyway? Can we do it online? So this is what we've put together. And we'll just go through it, and feel free to ask questions as we go. But at the end of this session, what my aim is, that I can't be the ongoing person to look after this. We need to get this shared around all the clubs and all the districts. So the aim is for you to be able to conduct an online health check and to train others in your district so that the whole process will live going forward. And I want people to understand the tools that are needed and how we've constructed the whole thing. And if you remind me at the end, I'll tell you where we've put them all, or getting them all put at the end. So are people comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Yes, again, works. So here we go. So the purpose, just to remind us, clubs get an overview of their current performance. And when we do visioning, they look at where are we going to be in 5 years' time, but they don't necessarily at that point look at where are we today. And the guidance that comes from the health check looks at 5 areas of Rotary life, and we'll come on to that just in a second. And the purpose for me putting it together was that everybody gets input and gets anonymous input. But
Sorry, that's.
okay, he sorted out the loop.
I hope that's sorted now.
Yep, got you. And obviously it's pointless doing a health check if you go to the doctor and get and saying this is what could happen if you don't listen to the remedies. You okay, Max? Right.
I am now. Sorry, I had to be sure.
Yeah, no worries. But the big thing is that everything's developed and owned by the club, and there's no tell from outside people. So the whole thing is it's a club process, and not Big Brother or anything saying here's what you've got to do. And we'll look at 5 areas, and in the online health check we've got a page of yes/no questions of each, and I think there's some of them's about 13 questions, some have got 17 questions. So it's club experiences. What's your experience in the club? Does it fit with you? Does it suit you? Club service and club socials, pretty obvious. You can look at the members. Are we attracting members? Are we having a diversity in our membership? And membership's no use unless our public image is right. And obviously, how does a club look after its business in a day-to-day? Does it go through things properly in a structured fashion and in a, I hate to say business-like fashion, but really it's what it is, it's what people want. So we'll look at the 5 areas, and what we're looking for if we're talking about a health check is club experience is really the bedside manner, looking after things. The physical, the emotional health of the thing, are we doing the right things? Are we looking after ourselves? Are we looking after ourselves internally as well as what we're doing externally? And then membership and image really come together as the heart of your club. No members, no image, no image, no members. is kind of the way I put it. And I kind of got shot down in flames a few years ago when I suggested in my district that public image should actually be part of the membership team. I still hold that view.
Well, we've joined ours together.
Good.
In the district, sorry.
Yeah, we joined ours together in the district 3 years ago.
Yeah, and I'll come back on to something there. Engage emerging leaders, that's not one of the things, but obviously everything we're doing is about looking after the future. And obviously future people, not just for the club, but for district and for the wider Rotary. And obviously business and operations and image is the brain, the nervous system, kind of in medical terms, and the health of the whole thing. So been there, you've seen that. So how is this different from before? Fundamentally, it's the same. However, I'm going to take off that bullet point because this is actually, I've actually persuaded RI to host all the documents, and I need to get them sent over. But for the UK purpose, we've de-Americanized it because they've got questions about the board where we've got council and things like that. And there are other things. But we've added a few questions. So we've now got 70 questions. I think it was 67 before. And I'll challenge you to find the different ones, the additional ones. It's not just I added on, but I consulted the coordinators on what the additional questions were. The big thing is participants enjoy a much shorter health checks. If you're doing this face-to-face, much like visioning, it can take, what, 4 hours potentially, maybe slightly longer, some things maybe a bit less. And especially when things are calculated on paper and calculated on the day on flip charts. But the club, because of the way we've done it, gets much more analysis automatically coming out of the system. And the way I've done it, the way I've set it up, most of the tasks we've put together are automated, and we'll show you all of this. So fundamentally, it's the same as the big thing. And clubs have got a much shorter process. And we'll come on to the process in a second. And it's fully anonymous. If you've got people face to face, people might just look over their pal's shoulder and say, what have they written? And am I brave enough to write something different? Am I brave enough to say no if they've said yes? This is fully anonymous as far as the club's concerned. And the guidance tools are the same. So if you look at the paper health check, there's no difference in the guidance tools and some of the things that can be used as remedies or as support for the remedies. Anybody, any questions on that before I move forward? Comfortable?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't hear people. So the process of doing it is probably not much different. The club, perhaps persuaded by the assistant governor, decides they want to have a health check. Nice and simple. The facilitator, whoever that is, has a first meeting. And I've called it first meeting and second meeting. And that's really just a 15 minutes introduction to the process and for facilitator to issue a link to Google Forms. And Google Forms is where we constructed the questionnaire. And then after that, what I've done it, I've got the secretary of the club to actually issue the link to all their members. And the Rotarians complete that questionnaire in 15 minutes. Some might have taken 20 minutes, and it's 70 questions. They're just yes, no, pretty simple. The one piece for the facilitator is they've got to analyze the output, and it's not the looking after the information. It's really saying, what does information say, and then putting it in a Word format so that the club can use it in a structured manner. But all the information to go into there is 90% automated. There's one piece for the facilitator to do. And then in the second meeting, you would show that PowerPoint and then get them in groups to go and work through the key areas. And we'll come back onto that. So I would feed back to the club, or you would feed back to the club, and the club would decide remedies. And in breakout rooms, we would give them a facilitator, and we'll talk about the facilitators, our coaches in each of the rooms who understand a bit about Rotary. And then the club, after that, they've decided on it. Somebody just needs to pull it together from the different breakout rooms into a plan to go forward. And that's the process. Any questions on that? So the facilitators really 15 minutes in the first meeting, 75 minutes in the second meeting. So far, I've not overrun 75 minutes, but it really depends on the groups. And I've put down a couple of hours. I think the first one I did took 3 hours. The second and third one I did was probably done about an hour and a half, but that was just me setting up templates and things in the first one. But the templates are all available. So that's the process, and I'll come on to how the tools are used. So obviously it's left to right on that. And any questions on that?
Perhaps just a simple one about during lockdown, would the first meeting be viable, the completion of the questionnaire?
Yeah, do it face to face. Do it on Zoom. And
right.
Everyone I've done on Zoom.
Okay.
So no issue at all. I'm not sure. I did it with all the membership chairs. I think 30 of them. I got 30 responses, including the assistant coordinators, and I did that just on Zoom with them. And then the second meeting was, we didn't go through the whole thing, but we had about 25 minutes in the second meeting with them. But we actually took them through the whole process and issued the document that went with it.
Okay.
Okay. So everything's online, everything's on Zoom. So there's no face-to-face at all in this process. So what the Rotarians will be asked, let's assume this is Thursday evening at the first meeting. And I did this because I've just pulled this down from one of the clubs I did this on. So assume, as far as we are concerned, let's assume it's Thursday evening, first meeting. So what we're asking is the club members to complete the questionnaire by Monday evening. You could actually pull that forward. I did that for the first one, and 90% of the club actually did it the same evening and had them all in. Really emphasize that all answers are anonymous and data is captured online, and it'll take them less than 20 minutes. Experience is it's not even 15 minutes. The one thing that might upset them is it will ask for their email, and there's a good reason for that. It's in case people do set 2 or 3 entries, but that never goes back beyond the facilitator, the overall facilitator. So as far as the club's concerned, as far as the individuals are concerned, it is fully anonymous. And if we'd got the things back by Monday evening, what I told the clubs were, we'll input the analysis and we'll return it to everybody by Tuesday lunchtime, so that by the following Thursday, 1 week to today, they'll actually have the feedback 2 days before, and we'll work through it. And we're asking them to print everything so they have it available going into the second meeting. I've got somebody coming in from called Scythe Rotary. And included with what we give them will be information and action sheets. And we'll show you the report that we did for the district membership chairs. So any questions on that piece?
Is the information and action sheets automatic then?
They're all part of the templates, yes. And I'll show you that, Julie.
Yeah.
The critical elements in the first meeting is to confirm it's anonymous. The other one we've done is, if you don't know an answer, tick no. So there's not an option for don't know. Because if you don't know, the answer must be no, because you don't know it's happening. And that's very deliberate. And it helps identify any disparity in understanding, which is really important for me. And it's important that we'll feed back the analysis at least 2 days before. So they get the people in the club get a chance to read it, get a chance to print it off. And it's important that we'll have facilitators lined up for the second meeting and briefed in what to expect. And there's a briefing document for the facilitators who go into the breakout rooms with the clubs. And we'll come back onto that as well. So that's just some critical things to emphasize in the first meeting. If they go into Google Forms, this is typically what they see, is a health check form. It's all done in Google Forms, and it goes through six sections. The first section is fill it in, tick no if you don't know, but it asks for their email address, and we've already told them that that won't be shared back with anyone. So that's what people see when they go in, and it just scrolls down the pages. When it comes to the end, it says submit that, and it goes into the following one. Really simple. Nobody's failed me yet on that. So if you look at it a bit more detail, this is the type of thing that you see under this forest one, for example. I've run it in my own club. So this is just the details that they see. And then it goes into section 2 as your club experience that we talked of. Okay. So the system structure is, there's a questionnaire in Google Forms. And what I've done is I've just copied a whole set of Google Forms into a new one. So if Julie, your club was wanting one, I would just create, or you can create a new set of Google Forms, and it's a copy paste in Google Forms. I'm still needing to find a place to put the master Google Forms, and I'm working on that. And if I don't have a place, I'll set it up for you until we get that final place. So the facilitator sets that up, and really that's just a couple of minutes. After the first meeting, the people in the club answer the questions. And if I've told them, we'll close it off on Monday night, we'll close it off on Monday night and we download the answers. And then if I import, or you can import the information into Excel, and the graphs are all produced automatically, and we'll show you the graphs. And the graphs in Excel go into the Word document that goes to the Rotarians, and it goes into the PowerPoint that just helps go through the second meeting. And then the club produced a plan for the way forward. So it's Google Forms, it's a piece of Excel, and then really Word and PowerPoint is converting the information in the Excel into a usable document. And there's templates for the Word, there's templates for Excel, there's templates for the PowerPoint, all set up for us. Any questions on that? No, Ken, I like this. And the timing, so that just fits. So there's one was the sequence of events, and then there's a structure of the data as we use it. Now it becomes a little bit more interesting. What the data looks like is when you've got Google Forms, and this is just a cut out of it. So there's all the questions, but the question master can see the responses. And there's a different button for the responses. And then you can view, if you press the responses, you get the answers in Google Sheets. It doesn't matter what you call it, it comes out in that. And all you do is, when you're in responses, you click that button there, and it automatically transfers all the answers from people, all the yes, no's, their name and everything, into Google Sheets. Simple. And this presentation is available, so don't worry. And in Google Sheets, this is what it might look like. I've just pulled this out, and I've kind of hidden a heap of names, but I've left a couple. So I look forward to attending club meetings is column C. Our club meeting program is whatever. We have a greeter who welcomes everybody. So all the questions are along the top. The people that have responded are in the email address. And the reason for asking for the email address, here's this Murray Stewart, who's actually done it twice. And this person, Tracy, has also done it twice. And what I do is, so this one was done on the 23rd of July at 1858. One was done at 1832. So I just take the latest one and I delete the other one because it will just make a mess of the data if somebody goes and puts in 10 responses and tries to skew the answers. But at least everybody's got it in. And that's the only reason we ask for the email. And that's only, never ever let that email go beyond anywhere else. So nothing else is captured apart from the date people said submit and all their answers, yes, no, yes, yes, all the way along. And any questions on that? So if you press that responses button, if I go back up, if you press that green button, this is what you see. What we need to do then is take this into Excel. So this is the one piece that is not automated. And we copy everything along here and we remove the duplicate data and we take it out in Excel. And we just show there's Murray Stewart and Tracy who completed the form twice. No issue. We can see it and we can take it out. And then we transpose it. I'll take you through this. I'll go into an Excel sheet. If you take, so down here is Stuart Murray twice, probably. No, these are actually the names of Leslie Sully and Ali Mack and a few others who actually completed it. And all along the top is the 70 questions. So that 70, including the time, the email, is all pasted into Excel. And then to make it easy, we transpose that into a different format so that the data can be automated. And that's the only piece that is a manual interference in the system. Mike Constable's given up on 7 o'clock and he's coming here. He's just, you can wind him up, Julie. So I'll go through that. I'm going to stop for a second. Just try to see what the next one is.
So does this data come back to us?
So my aim is that you will have the Excel template. You'll have the data from Google Forms and you will download it and you will do it. Until I've got this Google Forms in a place, I'll give it to you in Excel. But clearly, if there's however many clubs in UK wanting to do this, and going forward, we need to get this owned by the district. Yeah. So there's the data we've pulled forward, and that, if I go back up, this bit I've just highlighted in green up here is the data we transpose, and it takes all these questions along the top, the 70 odd questions, and it sticks them down the side, and it puts respondent number 1, there was 30 respondents in this. So I'm going to stop sharing for a second because, evening, Mike.
Hi, evening. Am I a bit late?
Yeah.
What happened to your meeting, Mike?
I've got one at 7:30.
Oh, it's 7:30, yeah.
So
Yeah, what time do you start, Ken?
6:30.
I beg your pardon. Oh, I thought it was 7. Oh dear. Well, you've recorded it, haven't you? You've recorded it.
We're recording it.
Yeah, thank you. Goodness.
Okay, so if I look at the Excel sheet, and I'll take this up and go to the top. So all the way down here was the people that responded for, have I got this? No, it's okay. Why is it not? So down here are all the people that responded with their email address. So we can see Leslie Sully in here and what she said about it. So enough a lot of yeses in there, Leslie.
I know. Well, I got the right. At least you told me you weren't sharing that email address with anybody else. I'll have you for that, you know. You want to watch out, Mike. You might be on there as well.
Yeah.
Oh, so's Max.
I can just see, yes.
Never mind. So I'll just hide that quickly.
I think I just did yes, no, yes, no.
Yeah, and this information, so there's the 70 questions along the top. And when it's transposed into here, here are all the questions down the side. And everything that was, if I go along the top, it's yes, no, yes, 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 yeah? Now goes down this column. And there's a reason for that. Because what I've done is you'll see that the first 15 or so questions are actually your club experience. Yeah, this is actually not it's not helping me for some reason. Because I should be able to go into and move the data around and just show you. But that's the transpose that's in there.
Yeah.
And then automatically, I'm going to stop this and come back into Excel a second. So I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to just in my own thing. Yeah, so.
I would just say while you're doing that, Ken, that the reason mine are all yeses is because I'm in a brand new club, you see. So we do it the right way, you see.
Right, this works. So so all the data across here, all I did was I didn't take the names. I just took it from the first yes, no, all the way along, copied it, and then transposed it into here. So everything was in there is in here. And that is then going into the summary sheet automatically that says, against club experience, there's a possible score of 450. This club did 301. And it's got 67% of that. Pretty good. Service and socials, potential 360. And so 360 was only a multiplier by the number of people times the number of questions. Members, that didn't score so good, the membership one. It scored 58%. So very clearly you can see which are the two key areas that we should really look at. You can't look at all 5 areas, and you wouldn't look at all 5 areas. You'd bore people stiff. And the club shouldn't be trying to eat an elephant. They should just be focusing on the key areas that they need to look at. All the data is there so they can come back to it later. But here's the key piece is this picture, this part of the picture here, which is the overall score. So respondent number 1, out of a total of 70, gave it 58. Respondent number 2 gave it 66. But respondent 24 only gave the whole thing 24. So there's a disparity in understanding across the club. And if I look at if I just pick up membership or the members questionnaire. So the reason, if you remember, when we transposed the data, I'll just take it up to the top, is when the data is looked at by each of these different tabs along the bottom, it automatically can read the whole thing. And that's why you only ever need to move the data once. All this is just copied forward automatically for us. Our club has a membership plan, 18 points. Here's 27 points out of 30, I think this was, that said, 27 said our club retains at least 90% of our members each year. Great. But 3 said, we actively recruit alumni. Is that a thing to look at? We've had a net increase of members aged 40. 9 points. We keep in touch with people. 13 points. We get feedback from members. So all of a sudden you can see very quickly which are the ones we're going to look at. And if I come back out, the graph that we want to look at, if I can just go to this, which is again automatically generated, says, you know, respondent number 2 scored this 17 out of 17. But respondent 22 and 24 only gave it 4 points. Why is that? Is there a disparity? Are they newer members? Now, we're not going to tell the club what it is, but we've actually got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 or so out of 30 are scoring it 6 or 7 or less. So there's not an understanding or a disparity in understanding between the different club members. Perhaps there's a glass full, perhaps there's a glass half empty down here. You don't know that, but at least you've got something that allows you to go and look at each. And each of these, there's one for image, one for business and operations, your club experience, and we've color coded them, and that'll all happen automatically for you in the template. So the only thing you've had to do is take it from Google Forms, put the data at the top here, and transpose it to there.
Can you explain how to transpose it again?
Absolutely. So let me just take, if I just take that, take those ones, right? And copy it. And I'll just stick it in the bottom here. And then say, if I right click on there and said, in the paste option, one of these, that one there is transpose.
Okay, fourth one along.
So it does it automatically. So those items I highlighted at the top in here, I only highlighted the first 7 questions, but here you've got all the answers for each of the respondents. What I have done, and it's used in the graphs, is, you know, on respondent 1, that's right, respondent 1 said yes 58 times. So you can immediately see where, when you go into the overall summary, where I've used that data from. Yeah. Questions?
I think most of the questions, Ken, will come from having an opportunity to use it. But my first question is, what version of Excel are we using?
I've been using Excel 2016.
Right. I know that one of the concerns I had about this evening was that my laptop is of an age, so I think it's 2010, perhaps something like that. So I'm not expecting it to be able to manage this at all. And I'd hope to bring someone else along who is keener on Excel perhaps than I am. So I will be able to find someone. It's just that I wanted to know what I was asking them to do.
Sure.
And so that's one of the issues. And the way I work at the moment is on iPad, and that seems to work for nearly everything I need to do, but it wouldn't work for this.
All right. I can't think that there's anything complex in what I've put together that wouldn't run it if I didn't take it back to just an older version of Excel.
Right. Well, I shall try it and see.
Okay. Try and see, and if not, I'll try it with an older version and save it back to an older version.
I'm not really asking that that's the solution. I don't want to put work on you, Ken. It's just that I'll reconsider how we do things based on the answer you just given me.
Okay. So let me just push on. I'm going to put up the questionnaire output. So can you see this? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is the output, and there's a template for all of this with all of the words except for probably 10 bullet points that we're asking you to do. So guess what? Remember that overall summary piece? All it's done is copy pasted out of Excel into the Word document. And quite honestly, I'm finding clubs are scoring this in the low 60s overall. And I'm not seeing anything, I've not seen anything under 50% in any of them. Whether that's glass half full or glass half empty, I don't know. And we can't get beyond that. And all I've done in this piece is just said what happened. Respondent 24 gave it a low score, and respondent, somebody else gave it a high score. So just to give the club that view. And then further down the document on club experience. So if I'll take on the club experience one for a second, it'll just pop up. So that piece that was color coded in Excel is a copy paste. Nice and easy. The graph is a copy paste. And the observations, I've put three observations in here. It's not telling them what to do with it. It's merely observations. Five areas were scored high by 24 of the by 4 of the respondents. 3 areas could do with attention and say what they are. And there's a disparity between individual members' perceptions. So that's the only additional piece that I've done as an observation as a facilitator, and I would expect a facilitator to do. I wouldn't go in and try and tell them what to do about it, but just make an observation on what you're seeing on the data to help them understand. Same with service and socials. And again, 3 or 4 simple bullet points. And it need not be 3, it's what you see in the data that needs to go in that's going to be useful for the club. And so if I'll just look at image, the top of the graph is 12 on this one because there's 12 questions. If there's 17 questions, the top of the graph is 17. And that's again set up automatically for you. And then same with business and operations. And I'll come back onto these appendices in a second. So I'm going to stop sharing there and ask for any questions before I move on.
No, I agree with Max. It'll probably be when we try and do it, won't it, Max?
Well, I'm pretty sure, yes.
Absolutely.
And well, the other thing, Ken, is so you, as the facilitator, make the observations.
Yes.
You select which ones you think are the key ones from there.
That's right.
Yeah.
And they're different in each case, obviously, Max.
And this, the fact that you don't make recommendations, I quite understand why you would leave it to the club. But in some cases, the club will perhaps not have a knowledge or understanding of what solutions are being reached elsewhere. Where does that come in?
Right, let me come on to that for you, Max.
Okay.
So I've got that covered. So, so in Excel, on the sheet I just showed you, there was the questionnaire temp is where we pasted the data into from Google Forms.
Yeah.
And then there was the different tabs for each of the automatic analysis, for the summary, your club experience across the bottom. So that's what we saw in that Excel sheet I was just showing you. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the automatic analysis comes up with things like this, which we've seen. And these are the things that are in the Excel template automatically. They get copy pasted into the PowerPoint for sharing for 5 minutes at the beginning of meeting number 2, and also into the Word document that goes out to all the members of the club. So this is the thing, Max, now then, is the facilitator team is obviously people who know Rotary. And in the ones that I've done up to date, I've strong-armed the DG, I've strong-armed some PGs, I've pulled in other people who are not seen as a threat to the club, and I've not asked people in the club to do it. Obviously, they've got to have knowledge of what good looks like, and they've got to be motivators to help the club move forward and stop. When they go into the breakout rooms, I give them 20 minutes, and it usually runs to half an hour. And you've got to stop them looking backwards. You've got to get them to look forward. And that's why we want somebody in each of the breakout rooms. Now, what I've been doing is only having 4 breakout rooms and having the same question put to 2 breakout rooms. So we'll have, on that example, we'll have membership on members with 2 of the breakout rooms and whatever the other topic was in the other 2. I think it was image was one of the ones I gave recently. And then we ask them to come back after their decision on what their remedies are and ask them to present to the rest of the club. And because it's done in 2 groups, you actually get a balancing view between the different groups. And if one of the groups are working faster than the other, you just say, go and tackle another topic then, so that they can go and do something. But so the people that goes into the breakout room, they've got to be able to help a club discussion, help members discuss things. There's got to be a good presenter, and they've got to support each breakout room. And the support expertise obviously is knowledge of Excel, Word, and PowerPoint significantly helps. Zoom experience, but I think most of us are getting good at that by now. Use of breakout rooms for setting it up in Zoom, obviously, for the second meeting. I see I've still got some typos. I don't have 4 in there. And someone to work each of the breakout rooms, as we've said in the facilitator piece. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So I'm going to go back onto the document again, and we'll come back onto this. I've lost it now. Yeah, it's this one. So the appendices have got a worksheet for the second meeting, a prognosis. Sorry? A prognosis sheet for each of the different sections and a what next. So if I just go into this, if I took it, so they've got these worksheets that actually sit in the Word template. Oh, come on. This is not playing fair. So the worksheet on the right, let me go down one, it'll be easier. So they've got a couple of worksheets because they're only been asked to look at 2 topics. And the worksheet is saying, so go and give me 2 or 3 strengths. And this helps give them a good feeling before they go into the negatives. Get them feeling positive, because things are positive in clubs. And then ask them for 2 or 3 areas for improvement that they need to work on, and ask so what are you going to do about it? And for them to record what they're going to do about it. So you ask them in the room for somebody to sit, actually write these things down in the Zoom breakout room. And there's only 5 or 6 or 7 of them in the breakout room. So they should manage to do that. And on the right-hand side, there's a prognosis sheet that says, you know, if it's to do with club meetings, here are some options you might want to consider if you can't think about things yourself. If you're talking about experience beyond the club, here's a few things. So these are just copied straight out of the health check workbook, the paper one, and I've put them in here. And there's one of these prognosis sheets for each of the different areas, for service and social, for members, yeah, business and operations, and then there's the what next. So once they've done that, somebody's got to collate the whole thing. So you ask them to get a health check champion in the club who's going to keep them right and keep moving them forward. Good to speak to the president beforehand to say, who's the potential for being your champion. Quite interestingly, 2 clubs I've done have actually picked their youngest member or newest member. And what a great way of actually getting them into the wider Rotary and the wider understanding. But there's various resources, and if we go back up, each of these actually suggests, use the club administration section of My Rotary to find reports, or find tips and resources on whatever. So it actually gives you places to go to in My Rotary just to help that. So does that help you, Max, on your question?
Indeed, yes, it does.
So I'll go back onto the presentation piece. So what we've done is there is a draft presentation for the first meeting. There is a Google Forms questionnaire. Now, I did come across a club who's got a member that doesn't have an email. And one of their members said, I'm prepared to go around and get them to help them fill it in, and I'll put their answers onto the Google Forms for them. I wouldn't recommend that. I wouldn't tell people you've got that unless they specifically ask. We do have an Excel template to analyze the results, and we do have a Word template to issue the results to everyone. And we've got the PowerPoint template so we can share the results at the start of the second meeting before you put them into breakout rooms. And you would actually kind of pre-decide for them what's going to be the topics for the breakout rooms. And they'll agree with you in general. We've got an outline plan for the whole process, and we've got a guidance document for the facilitators and for the people working in the breakout rooms to support the clubs. So they're all available, and RI have agreed that they'll try and find a place to host all these documents. I'm still trying to get a central home for the Google Form questionnaire. So, you know, in 5 years' time, you're not all coming back to me and saying, can we do this? Yeah, of course, I'll support you. I was thinking about getting Google Sheets to do the automatic analysis rather than Excel, but it actually makes no difference because you've actually got to take the information out of, you've got to transpose it somewhere. So if you're transposing it once, the probability is there's more people understand Excel than Google Sheets. So my view is I'm going to ignore that and we'll stay on Excel. I've got an email from RI saying, please send over the documents, and they'll try and find a place where we can do the whole thing. And I'm just finishing a comprehensive manual that describes what we've all been through.
Right.
Wow, that's very impressive.
Okay.
Is there anything else? I can't think of anything else we need to do.
Right. Well, I'm afraid I'm going to have to go now, Ken. Sorry about that.
Right, before you go, I'm expecting
This
to
is
take action. I want you to encourage clubs to use the online health check. We've talked about the benefits. I want you to train others in the process, preferably hands-on, actually doing it. And I'm prepared to work with you on that and extend the knowledge base throughout your district.
Yeah, I mean, if we had 6 or 7 AGs interested in a bit of training, would you help with that?
If you have 6 or 7 AGs, I would make them do the questionnaire, Mike, and I would take them through the training on the second part, same as we did with the membership chairs.
Okay, yeah, right, understood.
But I don't want to do it 25 times with 25 districts.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I have to go now. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks for coming along, Mike.
Cheers. Sorry about that.
Hi, Mike.
So that's the take action part. So where have we been? We've been through the online health check system. We've seen how the different elements fit together. We've seen how to use the tools, and we've seen the key items that make them all work. So any questions? I'm going to stop sharing there.
Oh, I think it's very impressive, to be honest.
It's extremely impressive.
Yeah.
Ken. Yeah.
Very good.
Ken, I anticipate some resistance from some clubs, particularly perhaps the smaller ones, the smaller ones that are dying or perhaps not willing to admit they are. So do you have any advice how to motivate?
I think the way I try and play it is, I can't remember who it was that said it. I think it was somebody in my own district assembly. We had along somebody talking about change, and they said, I'd go and ask the members how long they've enjoyed Rotary. And I went along to one of my own clubs in my own district who frankly are dying. And they've been a huge club, a big community of 20,000 people could easily support a huge club. And they have supported a club of over 50. And I asked them, how long have you been in Rotary? And one of the guys said, I'm 80 today and I've been in for 50 years. So my answer back to him was, so you've enjoyed Rotary? Yes. And do you think Rotary should do good going forward? Yes. So why don't we support that? And how can we help you do that for your club? And actually turn it back on them and give them kind of guilt complex a little bit.
Yes.
In a nice kind of way, you know?
Yes. Well, I can see that. I think there are a number of clubs that are at that stage. Certainly there are some that are about to celebrate their 100th year, and fantastic, but they're dying. And it's because they've done the same things all that time. But of course, the club that they joined when he was 30 was a quite different one. And it's challenging them to help create a club similar to that.
Yeah, exactly.
That would attract a 30-year-old, and it won't be that club.
Yeah. You anything to add to that one, Leslie?
Sorry?
Anything you would add to?
No, I mean, we've all heard it. I went to one club. I think it was, I don't know if it was when I was district governor or membership chair. And as you say, I don't think there was anybody in the club. I don't think there was anyone in the club under 80. You know, they're down to 12 members. They're never going to get anybody else. They meet in a village hall. They have outside caterers bring their meal in. And I'd emailed them and said, look, let's see if we can get, this is an area where there's a massive young farmers club. I wanted them to help us convert some of the young farmers into a new Rotary club. And one man said to me, he said, well, I admire your enthusiasm, but you know, we've got the t-shirt, we've done all of this before, and actually as membership chair, I'm only here to look after all our members till we've all died. And you know, and you just think, you know, how do you actually manage that, you know? but they weren't going to help us sort a new one out. And in fact, they would possibly, and we've had an example this very week. I live in Colchester. We're a big garrison town, as you will all all know, we already have 4 Rotary clubs here. Our district governor has a meeting with the garrison commander next week with a view to setting up 2 new clubs in the town, one for veterans and one aimed mainly at partners of those that are serving.
Brilliant.
The biggest club in town, which is the biggest in district, he's having thrown his toys out of his pram. Because there's already 4 clubs in the town, and why do we need 2 more? We're a massive town, and we have a huge contingent of military personnel. It happens all the time. You just have to plough on regardless. That's all you have to do.
What's the population, Leslie?
I think the population of the borough is about 160, 170,000.
So here's your piece, as I've told you before. Inverness, population of 60,000's got 4 clubs.
Yeah.
Aberdeen's got 230,000, and the greater thing, 8 clubs.
Yeah. Well, to be absolutely honest, we do have a couple of other clubs that fall within the borough. But no, there's plenty of scope. And 3 of those 4 clubs are traditional clubs. Mine's the only one that isn't a traditional club. The others, 2 of the others meet at lunchtime still.
And if you can't persuade them, I think what was I heard last night? Don't water the weeds.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, we plough. I mean, our district governor's fine. He'll just plough on regardless, and we'll all work around them.
Yeah.
But you just think but we've been here for 98 years, and we've got an ex-army, person in the club, and you think, well, then you should have made the contact, shouldn't you? But I think you have to just. I mean, what I would do, Max, is I would offer it to all clubs in the district.
Oh, yeah,
absolutely.
And then I would work with those that are keen to work with you. Don't beat yourself up. I mean, certainly in all of our training as district governors, but also in our training as Rotary, part of the Rotary leadership team, in my new role, they quite categorically said to us, don't waste time on districts that do not want to work with you. Focus on the districts that want to work with you, help them and do the growth there. If a district doesn't want to talk to you and doesn't want to have anything to do with you, let them get on with it, because they'll come running sooner or later when they realise the success is working elsewhere.
Yeah.
And I think you have to do the same, Max. You can't help all your clubs.
No, and well, the only thing I'm reluctant to let clubs die, though. We had 2 leave, just closed last year at less than a week's notice, and that really, really annoyed me, because that damages reputation hugely. If a club dies, then that name has disappeared, and people say, our Rotary club, we used to have one, but it just grew old and died. So I want there to be an exit strategy where we work with every club that's leaving, and we celebrate what they achieved when they were thriving. And the question I would ask is, and would you like us to reuse your name with a club, and say that to them at a point where they perhaps have not considered closure?
Right. Well, I can tell you, I can answer that, because that's exactly what we did with my club. So we had a club in Colchester that probably 2 years ago was becoming obvious it was going to close on the 30th of June. It had 18 members, but nobody would take on the role of president.
Yes.
Under any circumstances, no one would take on the role of president. So they decided they would have their, 60th anniversary and close with 18 members, go out on a high. So I spoke to the president as, it was in my year as district governor. So yeah, it was 2 years ago. I spoke to the president at the time and said, what are you going to do? We don't want to lose these 18 members. They shouldn't leave Rotary just because they don't want to be president. I said, why don't we rehome? I use that carefully, rehome those other members. If you, because he was the youngest one in the club, and one other stay on, we can keep the charter as long as we've got 2 names on the books. Let's keep the charter and let's remorph it into a new modern club that meets twice a month at 6:30 tea time, no meal. And that is exactly what we did.
And that's exactly what we're doing. We're going back into the club and saying, I just need 2 names who people want to be a Rotarian. And they would go and join somewhere else. And so keep the name in the area, keep the charter, and we'll help you rebuild to something.
And the advantage with that, of course, is you don't have to go through the getting 20 to get your charter. Exactly. You don't even have to go through 8, getting your 8 to be a satellite of a club that's going to try and stop you growing. You cut all of that out.
Right. And that's been helpful. Thank you. I know that's taken us away, Ken, from something, but that will probably allow me to a different approach to how I've been doing.
Anyway, I said 70 minutes. That's 65.
Well, you've done.
And you can blame the last bit on. You can blame the overrun on me, Ken.
No. We've still got 10 minutes if we need.
Ken, that was brilliant. It
Yes.
really was.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Are we all right to have a copy? I think you said we can have a copy of the presentation that we could use ourselves in an additional meeting just to go through.
So the presentation I just gave you.
Well,
yes.
all the PowerPoint you used.
I'll share it round. I'm trying to think how big they all are.
And have you got everybody's contact details? I mean, I know you've got the rest of us, but have you got Julie's contact details?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure I've got Mark's. I know I've got David's.
Have you got mine?
Who are you? Sorry, boss.
Ken, I did check the health club training, or the health club PDF on my Rotary again today, and so it's got many of these questions, but it isn't that. I ignore that and just focus on what you've got.
Yeah, no, it's not the one on the website.
The fundamental process is all the same with that PDF on health check, and I've tidied up some of the questions because they just didn't work in this country.
Well, it's that sort of thing. So I will give that warning to anyone who is interested in what we're doing, that it will be our stuff, not the one on the website.
Yeah. But fundamentally the questions are all the same. I think I added 3
right
from memory.
Yes.
One of the interesting ones was, it was under my club. I don't feel obliged to have a meal, and the answer needs to be yes, because that's a positive. Because if I'd asked, do I feel obliged to have a meal? Yes was the wrong answer. So I had to turn it around a little bit. And
yes.
It caused people to stop and think of the answer for that one.
Yes.
So some of them I've had to make sure the questions gave me a yes answer, if yes was the appropriate way around. So I think I've got it.
We'll look carefully.
I'll send you a link to the recording as well. I'll stick it on YouTube probably tomorrow night.
Well, thank you, Ken. That's been really good.
Thank you very much.
Lovely. Thanks, Ken, and thank you
You've done
for
a lot
all
of good work.
Yeah, all the work you've put in before just doing this. It's the days of work, isn't it?
Oh,
I think there's clearly too many hours of darkness in northern Scotland.
And you're about to find out this year that there are too many clegs.
Yeah. All right, Ken, thanks ever so much.
Very well.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Take
Ken.
care.
Been
Bye,
brilliant.
everyone.
Very good.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye.